Launching a brand new community can be such a daunting and overwhelming process, but thankfully there are people like me who have done this 20, 30, 100 times before. And what I want to show you today, what I want to walk you through is what we do for our clients to help them prepare for their community launches, to feel really, really confident, and to make sure that they're setting themselves up not just for the launch success, not just for validating that this community should exist, but actually preparing them for this long haul. Because community building is really about maintenance work, which oftentimes we assume is going to be really time consuming, really difficult, but it doesn't have to be if we set you up strategically. So let's get into exactly how we do this with our clients. Hey everyone, for those of you who don't know me, I am Carrie Melissa Jones. I'm a community strategist, entrepreneur, and researcher, and I have helped hundreds of organizations launch, build, maintain consistent and successful online communities. After you watch today's video, you'll understand the process that we go through with our clients and help them walk through step by step, day by day, because that's what this is really all about, is breaking this into doable tasks in order to launch their communities. The first thing that we do with all of our clients is make sure that we understand the full context and nuance within which you are launching your community. Every community's context is different. So unfortunately, there's no copy paste where you can take your best friend Jane's community and superimpose her plans onto yours. So we acknowledge that, and we get to know our clients extremely well through our onboarding questionnaire. This is where we really get to know what work have you done so far, how far along are you on your journey, and where do gaps exist. So we get this information, that way you're able to just dump it all in one place and not feel so overwhelmed by it. If you're wondering what we cover in the onboarding questionnaire and how to assess at least a little bit on your own some of the gaps that you might have in your launch strategy, what you're gonna wanna check out is our How to Design Meaningful Community Experiences workshop, which is gonna walk you through some of the essential strategic elements that you need to consider before launching your community. The next thing that we do with our clients is to clarify the really important strategic pillars. So the purpose of the community, the target audience, and your voice and values. All of the answers to your logistical questions are going to come from really sturdy pillars in this area. Almost everyone I work with wants to jump right into the logistics. They want to ask me, how much should I charge? Who should I invite? How should I recruit new members? But until we've established these strategic pillars around purpose, on our audience, and what it is that they need and want from us, everything's going to be really unclear, and it's really going to be guess and check. Instead, we want to be strategic so that when we launch this thing, we launch it right the first time. Let's not waste any of our precious hours and minutes each day. Now, once you've completed those strategic foundations, all of your logistical answers can flow from there. So that's what's really, really great about getting that clarity. Important logistical things to think about. Number one, how many people joining your membership will you consider to be a success? Is 5 members a success? Is 50 members a success? 5,000? I can advise you in this area, but it's going to be very context specific depending on your current audience and who it is that you're launching to. You're also going to want to understand how much you might be charging for this first group of people. You can watch my videos on pricing in my other YouTube videos, but for the sake of this conversation, we help to guide our clients through these strategic considerations to choose the price point that's going to make them comfortable, but not too comfortable. We want to stretch your comfort zone here, because I can almost guarantee you that what you're thinking about charging for your community is probably less than what its value actually is. The last logistical question that we walk through with our clients is we put a stake in the ground. We say, when are we going to launch this thing? Because once we have that date in mind, we can work backwards and start to set some accountability timelines, a Gantt chart if we want to get really nerdy with this whole project, just depending on what our client needs. Once we have that stake in the ground, we can work backwards and reverse engineer all of the other work that needs to get done. And it also creates some urgency for you so that this isn't just a nebulous project that you've been dreaming about launching, which I know for many of you who have been dreaming about building communities for a while, you put it on the back burner, put it on the back burner, put it on the back burner, but not when you work with us, okay? Because we're gonna hold you accountable and you're gonna make this happen. Once we're clear on both your strategic lens and these tiny little details of the project itself, what we help our clients do is actually walk through exactly what they need to set up a community landing page. Now, this community landing page or community sales page is the most important asset you can create when launching your community. You don't even necessarily need to set up the community first if you have a very solid idea of what you're going to be creating. What you need is the landing page, because what you're trying to do with a community launch, in some cases, not in all, but in some cases, is validate whether you should spend the time to actually architect and set up the community. So this landing page is crucial. So we walk you through all of the steps that you need to complete, what you're able to see here within this template, walk you through best practices, take you through all of the pieces that you need to have for your landing page, and it's going to create lots and lots of work for you to do, but also clarity in this template. For example, you're going to need to show testimonials for social proof, so you're going to need to gather those. But there's all these different pieces of the landing page that we get really clear on. We can work with you, we can work with your copywriter. This stuff is really fun, really important, and this is where it all starts to come together and feel real. The other thing that we walk our clients through is what we're going to actually offer in the community. So when we're thinking about a community launch, we want to keep things as simple as possible. I generally recommend having no more than 3 types of programming within your community. So we decide what these are. What are the 3 things that we're going to promise that our members will get at the outset of the community? And then we can build everything from there. At this point, the question that you're probably asking yourself is, when am I going to start actually setting up the community? We haven't talked about that at all. And that's because we want to be really diligent about technical selection. So we also help our clients to really clearly understand what their technical requirements are. And then I keep a tracking list of the over 80 platforms on the market today and help clients decide which one's going to be right for them. And we've launched on all kinds of platforms, from Slack to Discord to Mighty Networks to, I could just keep naming them. We've launched on every major platform, from the small to the large. And that's because we really have to be platform agnostic. We don't want to just go with what we think is right. We need to go with what we think is going to work for the programs that we want to run and for our members and their user experience. So we walk all of our clients through defining what that's going to look like, prioritizing the requirements, and then figuring out which of those platforms that are out there on the market today are going to best meet their needs and their budget. Another crucial consideration for our clients are 2 things having to do with legal and moderation, trust and safety concepts. So number 1 is understanding what your terms and conditions are going to need to include. Sometimes you need to run this by a legal professional. Sometimes you can copy paste templates from other communities that you've seen. Just be very cautious with that. But we walk our clients through that and can advise whether you should seek additional legal help. And we also help you to establish your community guidelines and your moderation best practices. So what's going to be allowed in the community? What is not going to be allowed in the community? And how are you going to respond when things go off the rails? Because it might take a while, but eventually, if you're doing things right, someone will violate your guidelines and you'll need to act accordingly. Once you've got all of these building blocks, you can actually start to plan out the actual launch for the community. So you don't have to have the entire platform ready to go at launch. This is a misconception that lots of people have. Instead, what you can do is have a community validation period in which people can join. There's a window for joining your membership or your community. And then you give yourself a few weeks to set up the community platform, letting people know and communicating with them through those few weeks of waiting time about what's going on, what they can expect. You actually don't need to have the perfect community set up right at launch. That can come later. But what you do need to have is a launch marketing strategy. So we also help our clients with this by creating content calendars, by creating invitation copy, because what you're going to want to do when you actually launch is have a strategy with multiple prongs to it. Now, what I mean by that is you're going to want to think about doing direct outreach. You're going to want to think about doing social media outreach. You might do some kind of an event. You might do a workshop. You might do paid ads. Whatever avenues of marketing work for you generally, spice those up here and have a whole calendar getting the word out about this launch. Now, that is separate from the actual launching of the platform and the content that is going to be in that platform. So for example, what you'll need to also plan for at this point, what we walk our clients through, is what is the first week in the community going to look like, the second week, third week. And we'll usually plan for the first few months at least in just big chunks of themes and rituals, things that people can expect. For example, when would a kickoff call be? If we're going to do a big welcoming call for all of our members, when is that going to be? And we slot that into the calendar, make sure everyone is aware, and then we can work backwards to actually plan it. That is separate from your launch marketing calendar, which you also need. In order to validate this, you're going to have to put effort into getting the word out about it. It's not going to be enough to send one email. You'll hear me say that in these videos over and over and over again. You've got to have a full campaign in place to truly validate whether this is something you want to continue to pursue or not. Once these pieces are all in place, then we walk our clients through actually setting up their systems, setting up usually a payment gateway, setting up that landing page, setting up the receipts, and setting up a cadence of emails that's going to go out. Not just your launch promotion emails, but also your thank you emails. So there should be a series of emails that thanks people for joining and onboards them onto the platform once it's ready. Once we hit go on the launch, we just watch things extremely carefully. We catalog everything that's going on, the main questions people are having, so that we can create better frequently asked questions documents and start to systematize everything as we go. You don't have to have every last detail figured out before you launch, because things are going to come up, and that's okay, that's natural, and just get comfortable with that. But by the end of the launch period, we want to go back to our initial goal and say, did we meet our goal? Did we meet the validation number that we said would make us happy on day one of our engagement if we were to reach it? So if it was 5 members, if it was 50, if it was 5,000, how far are we, or how far did we surpass, ideally, that goal? And how are we feeling in this moment? So then we'll walk through a postmortem and what we actually learned from this experience and help assess what could be done differently next time. Should we go? Or should we stop what we're doing right now? While we've never had to stop a community from being built at this stage, because I like to think we're pretty good at what we do, it's definitely a possibility. And this validation period can then save you months, maybe even years of questioning yourself, what if I launch this community membership? You're gonna know. By the end of this process, you are going to know. I'd love to know what surprised you from this process, so let me know in the comments below this YouTube video. What's surprising to you in terms of how we launch communities with our clients? Does anything stick out? Anything you never thought of before? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was a huge help to you today, whether that means an instrumental help, like just getting you to get over your fear and get going, or an emotional help, meaning that it gave you the confidence you needed to move forward. If you'd like even more support on your work, you can, as I said at the beginning of this video, watch our totally free workshop, How to Design Meaningful Community Experiences. That's going to help you to set up the pillars of your community or your membership program. Or you can reach out to me directly and find me on Instagram at Carrie Melissa Jones. I would love to talk with you about how I can support you, how our team can support you in your community launch. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day and happy community building.